Hey, welcome back to Bible and Blues. I am Cameron, your host, and wow, what a storm that was that we had on yesterday's video. One, I posted it late last night, so it was. If you didn't watch it, check it out. It was a pretty good one. Yeah, this is my usual concept where I give my opinion on things, uh, generally speaking, off the cuff. And I've had this. Like, I'll be admitted, I've kind of had it out for atheists just a little bit lately, and so I did one on the concept of why online atheism is it just a trendy thing, or is it or is it or is it actually something, right? And in my opinion, I think it's probably just a trendy thing. It's not just a lot of people who would actually be agnostic uh, are finding themselves, who have a belief that there is a God, are calling themselves atheist, which means I think they're misnaming themselves. Okay. And so because they're finding themselves part of a group, into a tribe of some kind, or something that, they're having trouble fitting in and belonging to things. And so, because so this is a way for them to do it. And I think that's kind of part of it. I think, and again, you have to bear in mind, I don't have time to do a lot of research, right? So I do a little bit, but and I checked the numbers, and so the number of irreligious people who are not religious in nature, has gone up. And again, and so saying they're atheists or not, I think can be a bit of a misnomer. I don't want to be splitting hairs here, because saying that you're an atheist is saying, okay, by definition, calling yourself an atheist is saying that you don't believe that there is a God. Okay, to cut it any other way is to split hairs on your side. Okay, and so if you say I think there might be something out there, I'm not sure what it is. I don't think the Christians have it right. I don't think the Muslims have it right. Yada yada yada. You're agnostic. You're not atheist. Okay, so but I got a lot. I didn't get a lot of flack. I definitely got the attention of a lot of atheists out there, and it was actually kind of fun. I can only pay so much attention to it because this was all happening while I was at work, and you don't want to get caught, on the computer at work responding to your YouTube videos, right? Commenting on your YouTube videos, unless your job is your YouTube videos, and it isn't for me. Okay, I have a very, very tiny channel. I'm hoping to make it grow. We'll see what happens. It'd be great, But so if you're interested in what I have going on here, or if you just want to see, hey, if you just want to see what kind of stuff I get into next, because to be honest, if the atheists want to come after me on the comment section, I'm fine with it, really. I talked to quite a few of them. Some of them I could find a little bit of concession with to a certain extent. Others, I had more than a few agnostics on there saying, listen, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a believer, but you guys, he's kind of right about you guys. Okay. And I think it's time they got a little bit of pushback, a little pushback online. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons I'm doing it. So, in light of that, one of the things I want to do, is, people talk a lot about Christians being anti-science. I really have not a clue where that really comes from. I mean, there's a small segment of Christians that are like that. I admit that. I know that. Okay. Just like there's a small section of atheists that are flat earthers. Okay. I don't believe in the flat earth concept at all. Okay. And I've been, I don't believe in, and I'm personally not a believer in the young Earth concept, that the Earth is only 6,000 years old. There's people I know and respect who do say that, there is evidence out there that you can make, you can that can fit that mold. Okay, that can fit that concept. I find since I don't have a whole lot of concern. There's no dog in the game for the young Earth versus new Earth thing. Okay, young Earth versus old Earth. Sorry, since I don't have any real dog in that race, I don't see a reason to debate that with people. I think there's nothing about that concept that if the Earth is 13.8 billion years old or the Earth is 6,000 years old, my faith in God doesn't change. And I think, and that's just it. And so, my faith in Jesus as my Savior remains the same, no matter the age of the Earth. And so I view it from that perspective. And whether atheists, whether 3% of the population is actual atheists, dyed in the wool, do not believe that there is a God at all, and when you die, you disappear, poof, you're gone. How depressing is that? Then, and how much of a life of meaning can you produce from that? So, debate me on that, huh? Either way, whether this 3% or 30%, does that change, my faith? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. But some of the things that we talk about, that I see popping up all over the place, is the concept that Christians don't believe in science. I would argue quite the opposite. So the cosmos is an incredible place, and I want to bring up. I found a story, and this is on a thing called Relevant Magazine, which is a Christian magazine. Okay, no doubt about it. My source is a Christian source. So you want to sit there and poke holes in it, go right ahead. I could care less. So this story was by Tyler Huckabee. Is that Mike Huckabee's son or something? I don't know. Could be. Wouldn't care. Okay. So they gave 9 different scientists who are or were Christians. And this is throughout time to the modern age. Okay. And among them is Francis Collins. Okay. Francis Collins was the preeminent geneticist in the world, and he helped complete the groundbreaking research into human DNA and gene sequences as a leader of the Human Genome Project. Collins, who is currently the director of the National Institute of Health, is also passionate about one other topic, exploring the intersections of science and his Christian faith through his idea of biologos. In his best-selling 2006 book, The Language of God, Collins discusses his view of theistic evolution, suggesting God is a master creator and designer, responsible for setting forth the events resulting in life. He's also an influential voice in modern Christianity. His BioLogos Foundation fosters dialogue in faith and science communities. And he was even recognized by Pope Benedict, serving an appointment to the Vatican's Pontifical Academy of Sciences. There's number one. Okay, number one was the one who headed up and learned, sequence the human DNA genome. Okay, and which has been touted as the most incredibly complex code ever written, far more complicated than anything Bill Gates has ever written, and he's admitted that himself. Okay, so so check that out. Johannes Kepler. For Johannes Kepler, belief in a brilliant creator who ultimately wanted his creation to be further discovered was a motivating factor in his work developing ideas about the laws of planetary motion. Kepler believed the design of the universe, for which his research in the 1600s helped further reveal, painted an even more detailed picture of the God of the Bible he was so fascinated with. So Johannes Kepler, who worked so hard, and let's face it, he was one of the great planetary scientists. Galileo, yes, that Galileo, the one that was under house arrest and fought the Vatican and fought the Pope about this, that, and the other, and about the Earth being the center of the universe, all that concept. And Galileo, okay, the life and work of Galileo Galilei were marked by an ironic conflict. Despite being a devout Christian believer, he was persecuted by the church for his revolutionary work as a scientist. Arguably one of the most important and influential physicists, astronomers, inventors, and scientists to ever live, Galileo took a non-literal approach to scriptures that the Catholic Church of the 1600s interpreted to mean that the earth was the center of the universe. Galileo's revolutionary research into the Earth's rotation was deemed heretical, and after years of debates and trouble with religious authorities, he was forced to recant them by the Inquisition. Galileo spent his remaining years under house arrest. Today, however, his writings and ideas provide the foundation for important understandings about the natural world. So, he wasn't against the church. The church obviously had some growing to do. Thankfully, we have grown as a church in general. Let's move on. Lise Meitner. Sorry, this one I'm not particularly familiar with. Let's read about Lise. Part of the team that discovered nuclear fission, for which her partner, Otto Hahn, won a Nobel Prize. Meitner was born into a Jewish family in Vienna, but later converted to Christianity. She was only the second woman to achieve a doctorate in physics at the University of Vienna and the first woman professor of physics in Germany before she was forced to flee the country during World War II. Fun fact, the chemical element Meitnerium is named after her. Never heard of that particular element. How about you? Yeah. So, here's another fun one, by the way. Sir Francis Bacon. Bacon was a devout Anglican who wrote that the goals for his science were to discover the truth and serve his country and the church. Known for establishing and popularizing the scientific method, he was the first scientist to be knighted. He viewed science as a way to learn deeper truths about God, arguing that a little philosophy inclines man's mind to atheism, but depth in philosophy brings men's minds about to religion. I kind of like that one. I'm going to remember that. So, next, we have Isaac Newton. Though some of his views were a bit unorthodox, pretty sure he had a pretty bad case of bipolar. Newton saw God as essential to the existence of space. Gravity explains the motions of the planets, but it cannot explain who set the planets in motion. God governs all things and knows all that is or can be done, he said. Newton was interested in the theology, trying to explain some aspects of biblical history in works like An Historical Account of Two Notable Corruptions of Scripture. He also spent time working on biblical numerology, trying to find hidden messages within the Bible. That's kind of where his OCD kicks in right there. They say he spent, sometimes weeks poring over the Bible, working on formulas, trying to figure this out the entire time, not taking care of himself, not bathing, not eating properly, all those things. So there's a good chance that there was some actual mental instability there. Next up, we have Andrew Pinsent, a triple threat if ever there was one. Father Pinsent is a Catholic priest, a research fellow at Harris Manchester College, and the research director of Oxford's Ian Ramsay Centre for Science and Religion. Some of his earlier work, about 31 volumes which he co-authored, contributed to the creation of the Large Electron-Positron Collider at CERN. But he has moved toward more philosophical work of late with a PhD in philosophy from St. Louis University. That's in addition to his 3 degrees in philosophy and theology from Pontifical Georgian University and his Doctor of Philosophy in high energy physics from Merton College. When he's not doing groundbreaking research on science and physics, he's working on theology. He is a father. His book, The Second Person Perspective in Aquinas' Ethics, Virtues and Gifts, was published in 2012. Stanley Jackie, a Benedictine priest and a distinguished physicist, Jackie spent his life at the forefront of orchestrating a friendly relationship between science and religion. Boy, people are trying to destroy that now, aren't they? Penning more than 24 books on the subject, he's famous for putting forth the theory that modern scientific inquiry can not only exist alongside religion, but that modern science only could have arisen within a Christian society. In fact, if you want to argue that, take it up with him, because I tend to believe that, but he wrote a book on it, so there you go. In fact, it was this work that warranted him the Templeton Award, which is given to those who do outstanding work in affirming a spiritual dimension to reality. He was as well qualified as anyone to do so. He received 1 doctorate in theology from Pontifical Athenaeum of St. Anselm, and one in physics from Fordham University. And the final one we have here today is Mike Hulme. Mike Hulme is the author of the excellent Why We Disagree About Climate Change, which was one of the Economist's 4 science and technological books of the year in 2009. Ever since receiving his PhD in climatology from the University of Wales, he's been a leading Christian voice in the reality of climate change, which he has summed up in 5 severe but notable level-headed lessons. 1. Climate change is a relative risk, not an absolute one. 2. Climate risks are serious, and we should seek to minimize them. 3. Our world has huge unmet development needs. 4. Our current energy portfolio is not sustainable. And 5. Massive and deliberate geoengineering of the planet is a dubious practice. So, these are the sum of the scientists. I mean, scientists from respected scientists. You have Isaac Newton. You have Galileo, Sir Francis Bacon. Then you have, I mean, who else do you have in here? I mean, names that people know here. Okay, Johannes Kepler, Francis Collins, who helped figure out the whole DNA genome of the human. Okay. These are really, really smart guys. And if you want to tell me that these guys are not using the scientific method, one of them invented it. So whatever, shut up. So anyway, today, now that we've gotten that part out of the way, we are going to read a Bible passage. And it and they're not designed to link together. I don't know if they do. And we'll see where we go with this. So we're reading Psalm 139 for the director of music of David, a psalm. O Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely, O Lord. You hem me in behind and before. You have laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light will become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. You created my inmost being. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place. When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. If only you would slay the wicked, O God. Away from me, you bloodthirsty men. They speak of you with evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. Do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord, and abhor those who rise up against you? I have nothing but hatred for them. I count my enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Here is reading of the Lord. Thanks be to God. That was awesome. Away from me, you bloodthirsty men. They speak of you with evil intents. Okay. And so, and I read that, and of course, given the day I had with, there were, 50 comments. Some of them were mine defending. Some of them were mine agreeing. Some of them, but, there were 50 comments on there today. And, it made for a, it made kind of a fun day. But I mean, at no point in time did any of them say that they hated God. They are, and and there was even a few respectful comments and actual respectful comments in there. Some were trying to reach out in a way that was softer. Some were trying to reach out. Some were, none of them were trying to convince me. But there were some really stupid arguments given in there too. But the whole straw man concept. I mean, that's there strong. And the arguments are the same. I called them junk arguments because they really are pretty much the same argument over and over and over again. And we'll see what happens in the future. I'm not sure what's going to happen to this video. And if I get another 6-to-1 dislike versus like ratio, I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. Or if I get not a single like and 1,000 dislikes, well, okay, I'm okay with that too. One thing's about it is that, like I've said many times, I don't make my living on YouTube, so I'm not dependent on it. I have all of about 50 followers at this point in time, and you know what? That's good too. So, I'd love for it to grow. If you're interested in what's going on here, if you've wondered how you can speak to people who are online with atheism, do I have all the answers? No, but I could be part of it. I do pray that God does guide my words. It's not always fun. It's not always pleasant, but you do what you got to do, right? So anyway, you have a great day, and I'm going to be hopefully getting this out yet tonight, and we'll talk to you later. God bless.